Come on, man. What's going on? There we go. Hey, guys. I got a good friend of mine here, Jon Schneider. Just want to talk a little boxing, a little veterans. John, I actually just first met you last week through a mutual friend, but when we met, as I explained to you, your name came up a while back when you were still fighting because I was training a guy by the name of Elvin Sanchez, and your name came up, and the fight never happened. But that's boxing, and
it's about standard.
Yeah, pretty standard, right? For whatever reason, who knows? Management, timing, everything like that. But so John, just give us an idea. Like, so you're from the island originally, right?
Paris Island?
No, Long Island. Where are you from originally?
No. Definitely not Long Island. Never. I will never claim Long Island.
Sorry.
No, I'm originally from Yonkers, New York, and
okay. Yeah.
I went to the Marines after high school.
Right out of high school?
I did what I'm looking for the right words. To make my mom happy, I went to college for a semester, and I basically signed up for school and prepped to go to the Marines. And then after that first semester, I left, and I had the honor of serving in two great units, a couple different, more than that actually. So I was with security forces in Bahrain and deployed a lot from there. Went to Fox 2, 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines. I was a scout swimmer there, and basic grunt. I mean, it was a great experience. Got to meet a lot of leaders. I still look up to and call to for advice and things like that. And we have a great net. We're still all there for each other. I was with the wrestling team, the All Marine wrestling team, when I was in the Marine Corps as well. And that's it. Then when I got out, I was still training for wrestling. I mean, my goal was to make a bigger team. I was training at the New York Athletic Club, and the competition was just so great that and there's zero pay. So it's very tough to be able to become the best at a sport or even one of the top guys if you can't get paid doing it. So I went back to boxing, which I started out doing when I was 12 years old. I stopped in high school when I started wrestling, and it just took off from there. I started, a couple years in the gloves, and my style was definitely more in tune for professional ranks.
Right.
And I fought at cruiserweight for the most part. A couple of heavyweight fights because tough fighting cruisers sometimes. Yeah. And I was on the show The Contender back in 2008, which was a lot of fun, great experience, and that's it. I mean, more so, I love fighting. I love boxing. I just love talking about boxing. My boxing knowledge and training people. Talking about boxing history and training people is just I have so much fun doing it.
Oh yeah. So, let's talk about the show, The Contender. What kind of experience? I mean, it was obviously a great experience, but how did you end up on that show and all that kind of stuff?
Good question. So I'll tell you exactly how I ended up on the show. My cut man, who Mike Rella, one of the best in the business, I think the best in the business, actually called me. He didn't call me. Somebody called me and told me, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was a guy named, it's going to come to me in a minute. Cool guy, I can't remember, from the television station. Damn, I can't remember his name right now. But Miles, there you go. Miles called me. So Miles called me. He got my number through Mike Rella. They're doing a cruiserweight contender series. Would I be interested in going? Of course. I was actually on the way going somewhere at the time, Miami, I think, for vacation, on the way to the airport. And we ended up going to California for the tryouts, and made the cut. Went out to Singapore. I guess that was, I'm sure that was the cheapest place for them to film it for some reason. And,
production,
no reason to beat around the bush, call it out what it is. We went out to Singapore to film it in a warehouse. And I mean, mostly great guys. A lot of them I still keep in contact with today. And, really great experience. I lost in the first round, a very tough match that I had against Alfredo Escalera. It was a good contender at the time in cruiserweight division, and we went at it. I got my eyelid cut wide open early on in the fight. I mean, I got plastic surgery done that night. It was fun. It was fun, but damn, man,
Yeah. Who else were some of the guys that were on the show?
You know who was on the show? My boy Hino, who's now really elevated himself as a big time trainer for celebrities in California. He was on the show. We trained together with the same trainer back home, Colin Morgan. So me and Hino sparred a million times before that. So it was cool to have a teammate out there on the same team. Hino was out there. He actually made it to the finals. He lost in the finals to Troy Ross. A lot of people probably not going to know who Troy Ross is. You may know who he is. I'm not sure. But Troy, I think, is probably one of the most underrated fighters of recent times. I mean, he just really had no push behind him from promotions to managers, and he was probably one of the most talented prospects, champions out there. He was a two-time Olympian out of Canada. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy was in absolutely 3 out of the 4 of his fights in the Contender were knockouts, and I mean knockouts. It wasn't like you know, it wasn't like the referee jumping. I mean, these were knockouts. 3 out of 4, and we're all contenders. And Troy was an animal. I mean, and actually a really nice guy, and that's probably why he didn't get that push. You got to be because sometimes you got to be an asshole to get that push to move ahead.
What's your thought? Why is cruiserweight division like? It just doesn't seem to gain any traction.
I mean, I don't know because most of the people in America weigh about 200 pounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's some great fighters in that division.
You think I gotta say maybe in recent times at least. I mean, a lot of the top cruiserweights have been European.
Yeah,
and I don't care how much you push them in Europe. It's just not going to go worldwide unless they get pushed here in America and it becomes big in America. So, I mean, I could look at the list right now. You know, you look at a list of top cruiserweights, and I'm sure I'm going to bet the top 5. Maybe one of them is an American. Maybe I'm probably going to be wrong now that I'm talking all this shit naturally. But let's see real quick. You got, and I'm right. Okay, actually, I'm gonna tell you this: the top, you don't have an American ranked until you get to number 21 in the world. Okay, I mean that could be a reason why.
My theory on it is that because the heavyweight division garners so much attention,
it does.
That there's guys that were like Stevie Cunningham, Adamek. Mm-hmm. And a guy I had done a little training with, Brian Minto. I don't know if you know Brian. Mm-hmm. You know, they kind of did some cruiserweight fights. They bumped up to heavy, and they were small heavyweights. They were guys that weighed only 210, 212, you know.
Yeah, and they're tough. They're very tough guys to fight for heavyweights. But once they get to that top 5, 10, I mean, they can't.
They're just not big enough.
Even you look at Usyk right now, right? Who's a complete animal, a murderer at cruiserweight. I mean, Chaz Witherspoon was giving him, you know, way more challenge than he should have been. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say he was giving him hell, but he shouldn't have been that hard. You know, shouldn't have went the distance. So, I mean,
so we got a couple of decent fights coming up. I mean, the heavyweight fight coming up between Fury and Joshua.
Fury and
I'm sorry,
Wilder.
My bad. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do you think about that fight?
Before I talk about that, I'm gonna tell you. I just heard literally like minutes ago. The fight is in limbo right now.
Oh, really?
Because Fury's team supposedly had an outbreak. They don't know who of COVID. Not saying Fury did. Oh, supposedly like Fury had the vaccinations as well. Yeah. But the fight is in limbo, and I'm not gonna speculate whether it's gonna happen or not. All I'm gonna say is I have a very good feeling that ticket sales were not going that well for this fight because they really outpriced themselves on this fight. But as for the fight, let's say it does happen now. I mean, I look at it very simple. I can't look at it from a fan standpoint or a boxer standpoint. A lot of times you'll ask boxers, doesn't matter how good they are, and they're wrong about their answers because they talk with their heart. They don't talk with their brains.
Right.
And a lot of times you got to remember too, boxing is a sport where it started in the ghetto, right? Yep. It started as a racial and religious sport. Everybody rooted for the white guy, the black guy, this guy, that guy. And that's how it is too. A lot of people, you know, really think Wilder's good. But at the end of the day, he lost 17 of 19 rounds if you're watching a fight in 2 fights. And he won 2 rounds because they were knockdowns. And he probably would have lost those rounds. So, I mean, I can't see a fight going any other way. Fury's way too schooled. Way too well schooled. I mean, he's just so damn awkward. He's like,
Can't hit him.
People can't hit him.
Yeah.
Very tough to, people could say what they want about me saying it, but he's like a 6'9" Muhammad Ali. Right. He moves he's extremely awkward. So was Muhammad. He wasn't what do you call it? He wasn't orthodox like a normal fighter. He was a very awkward fighter, and can hit you from all angles. So relaxed in the ring, and I really see the fight going this way. I'm gonna call it like this, and I won the first fight. I called it was gonna be a draw. I bet money on that fight.
Yeah.
I bet money on 15-1 on that fight, and I won the draw because I knew it was me some bullshit in that fight. It was. I swear to God. And anyway, but I was gonna say this fight, I see it. They're saying Fury's saying he's going up to 300 pounds, so he's gonna gain like 30-40 pounds, which he definitely could, 6'9", and he's saying. And I have to go with him. He's saying he's gonna knock him out with one punch. It's not gonna be an accumulation. He's gonna end it with one punch. I'm gonna go with that. I like going with his theories because he says what he does and he does what he says.
Yeah, that's pretty true.
Fights.
And then the fight, I think the following weekend is Pacquiao Spence.
Yeah, it's August 11th. It's like 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, yeah. And I'm a little bit worried for Pacquiao in this fight.
Me too. I really am. And I don't think, and I can't blame him, I don't think if Spence gets him in trouble, it's going to take it easy. You remember when he fought De La Hoya, Pacquiao?
Oh, yeah.
You remember how that went?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like passing of the torch, but not even a passing, but a taking of the torch. I mean, I gotta go with that. I mean, me and Pacquiao are the same age, and
Spence is so strong.
He's so good. He's got to be the best down there at 147. He's got to be the best down there. There's nobody between 40 and 47 that can touch him. I think, I'm not even looking at the 47 pounders right now, but the only guy near there would be 47. You have Crawford right now, right?
Yeah.
Say it's number one.
Yeah.
But they get Spence number 2. Amazing with the resumes they have. That Spence is number 2 behind Terrence Crawford. It's insane. I don't see anybody giving Spence a problem except for Crawford would be a good fight, and so would he already beat Porter, right?
Yep.
So would Teofimo if Teofimo came up sooner or later.
Yeah, it's a big jump fight for him because he's fighting at what, 135 or 140 right now.
40 now, I believe. Yeah. I mean, you might be right. Hold on, you might be right.
I don't know what he fought Lomo at. That might have been
that was 35 for sure.
35, yeah. But so there was some questions about Spence and how much he got hurt in that car wreck, and I had Keith Idek on last week.
Yeah,
and Keith said, and I agree that he showed he didn't lose anything when he fought Garcia.
Dude, listen to this. My thoughts on that Garcia fight is real simple, and you've been in competitive sports all your life as well. Okay, and look at Crawford's record, right? And we fought. Spence came back after a life-threatening injury, car accident.
Man, did you see the video of that thing? It's crazy.
He didn't come back to fight. I mean, I can't just anybody. He didn't fight somebody. He fought a multi-time world champion in his prime at the right weight class.
Yeah.
And I mean, manhandled him pretty much. He didn't get killed, but it wasn't a challenge. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. He was putting anything up. Yeah, they're at 35 right now. Teofimo, Lomo, they're still at 35. Gervonta just went to 40, and I'm sure soon others will follow. But I mean, that was a strategic move, I guess, to not fight all those guys because Mayweather just said he's not fighting anybody outside the Premier Boxing Champion or Mayweather banner.
Yeah, see, and you're gonna agree, I'm sure. That's the problem now with boxing. All this, you're not gonna see the fights that really should happen.
Yeah, very sad. Once in a blue.
Yeah. And my golden era of boxing, everybody fought everybody. Tommy Hearns fought Hagler. They fought Leonard. They fought Pepino Cuevas. They all fought each other, and there was no ducking.
They didn't wait 10 years past the expiration date to do it either.
Right. And that's a big thing today. I mean, how old's Pacquiao? 44?
No, he's 41, 42.
42.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I know he is. He's I think he's
I mean, and again, you would know better than I, but I think that's the smaller guys. As you get up in age, it affects them more than it does the bigger men.
He's gonna be he just turned 42 in December.
42. Okay.
I mean, and he does not have 19-20 fights. He has 60-70 fights.
That's what I mean. And he's not truly
60-70 pro fights. Most of them at the world championship level. I mean, and
he's fought everybody.
Brawls, and I mean, God bless him. I mean, I'm looking forward. Hopefully, he can hold his own. And listen, you can't say stop. He just beat Keith Thurman. How could you tell him to stop?
Oh, I know. And Thurman's, pretty decent fighter. Not bad at all.
And Roy Jones, you could tell to stop. But Pacquiao is beating the top fighters.
Right.
So
during your career, Jon, what were the difficulties you had? Was it, and when I say that, I'm asking, like, was it making weight? Was it getting fights? Because we both know the pro games, people don't understand it. It's besides the physicality of it, it's the management, and you got so many things to contend with. Getting fights and making sure that you're not getting screwed on money and the whole bit. It's a tough business.
I mean, a lot of times it comes down to money, not just you getting paid, but there being money for a camp, money for you not being able to have to go to work, 2 jobs, to be able to have your career. So I would say, something like that. Listen, promotional aspect, I do believe in, like, you should be able to, if you're promotion worthy of somebody putting their money behind you, I mean, you should be able to prove yourself every time you get out there too, to some degree. So, but if you don't have that training behind you, and that money to pay for training, or somebody who's going to be gifting you, doing it for free, I mean, how can you? But from my aspect, listen, I would say difficulties for me. I started very late in a boxing career, so I did live my dream. I was able to do the best I could do with what I had at the time, and that's it. Move on. At least I can say I did it.
When we talk about military veterans, I mean, Boyd was he in any of your gyms when you were training? Boyd Nelson.
Who's that again?
Boyd Nelson. He was West
Boyd
Point.
Nelson. I remember he was an Army, right? Army.
West Point.
I never met him in person. I think we talked a few times either on the phone or on like messaging. I don't even think we were on the same card together for some reason.
Right. But you would think that would have made good sense, right?
Yeah, it would have definitely made good sense.
Which brings me to my next thing. We're going to go back to boxing, but you and I we just had a conversation, and we're gonna try, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna put together a military veterans boxing show this Veterans Day weekend. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're looking at. And you maybe tell us about the ones you've done prior to this, Jon. I know you did one last year in England, right?
Yes, we did. And we did the last 3 actually in England. And sorry, 4. I'm sorry. We started back in 2016, minus last year because of COVID, so nobody could go anywhere, especially UK, in and out. We put together with the help. I mean, they put it together. So with our help, it came together. But John Hilton and Phil Campion, 2 former SAS guys, and they put together a team way back when. So I guess 15, something like that. So 16, we put it together Veterans Day weekend, where we donate to a charity. We put a few charities that we want to donate to. Mm-hmm. We have U.S. Special Forces versus SAS retired. Yeah. We go over there. We drink like fish. That's what we did the last 4 years. I tell you, I had so much fun. The first 2 years when I was fighting, I was drinking in between rounds. I had a blast. And we went out there and tried to take each other's heads off for a few rounds, and partied after. And all the money we made went to charity. Like the first year, I know U.S. was Semper Fi Fund, and there were we actually let each one of the fighters chose their own charities. That was mine the first year.
Right.
Then it was Navy Marine Corps Relief Society, Semper Fi Fund, Marine Corps Relief, Make a Vet Sweat, and then last year was Dustin and Stephen Foundation for the U.S. And it really was great. We had to raise a good amount of money for them. We got some good therapy for us.
Sure.
getting to throw some punches, having some drinks, and partying,
and being with people that have been through the experiences that you've been through in the military.
Right, like-minded people, and I was able to. A lot of guys from my unit went to the last one. It was we had guys come from Hawaii, guys come from Texas, California, myself from Jersey now. So we had guys from all over the country coming out there.
You showed me a video, it just blew my mind. Is that the guys in two fighters in wheelchairs?
Yeah, it was Chris Middleton was one of them. Yep.
Yeah. And tell us about Chris. What's
Chris? Chris is amazing. Chris lost both his legs from an IED. I believe I could be wrong. Obviously, it was in Afghanistan or Iraq. I believe Afghanistan. Right. He's from England, and I mean, amazing guy, happiest guy I know. I love the kid, and he's a fucking beast. Like, you know, I mean, I watched him beat dudes' asses who are able to walk, but they were fighting him in a wheelchair, and they couldn't fuck with him. I mean, Chris whooping there, and he could fight his ass off.
I saw the video, and that's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
John, was that? Yeah, so if anybody wants to watch it, go to YouTube. Just put in Chris Middleton, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. It'll pop up.
A ton of stuff will come up. Like he's a master scuba diver and things like that. And I mean, he's an amazing dude and a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's so I'm involved in this swim we had. This will be the third one, the Navy SEAL swim across the Hudson. And Mitch Aguiar, who is a team guy, he now fights MMA professionally, and his best friend is Kyle Maynard, who was born without legs and arms. I mean, he's got like kind of a little bit. And that dude had a scholarship to wrestle in Michigan.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, you want to talk about, don't feel sorry for yourself ever. When you see that's, and you hear him, and it's very inspirational.
Absolutely.
Just like Chris. Yeah.
For sure. No, I know who he is 100%. And no, it is. It's like, how can I have an excuse to be lazy? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And he does ads for Mitch's products when, you got to watch him manipulate a protein jug and get in there with the scoop, and it's incredible. And God bless him, really. So we're going to put this thing together. We're going to do it locally here, probably in Bergen County, correct?
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah. North Jersey, I think, will be most convenient for everybody.
Yeah. So if anybody's in a city or in the area, they can make it, and I'll keep everybody posted as we get closer to the date. It's in November, but these things, even the swim is only about a month away. Actually, today's the 7th or the 8th, I forget.
8th.
Yeah, so it's a month away. It's August 7th. It seemed like it was so far away, and then all this stuff it comes up on you quick. There's so much work involved. One other interesting thing, John, was your arm wrestling career.
Oh yeah.
And so let me just, before we get there. So John, in his basement, he's got the arm wrestling platform, and before we even got down in the kitchen, he says, "Give me a shot," and I hook up with John, and I'm leaning, and I'm putting all my weight, and I'm like, my veins are popping out of my head, and John says, "Let me know when you begin." So
no, it's a lot of technique.
It's an ego check for me.
It's strength, but it's a lot of technique. I always, everybody.
No, I know.
Fuck with somebody like that, but no, it's a lot of fun. I've always been into single person sports. I don't know why. I guess if I lose, it's all on me. If I win, it's all on me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So that's that. Those are my sports. Boxing.
How did you get involved into that whole?
I started watching a show. I started watching a show. I'll tell you this. No, this is a crazy story. I watched a show. It didn't really make it. It was the Game of Arms. It was an arm wrestling show on TV at one point back in 2014. But this is kind of funny story. Really crazy. So my wife was having her bridal shower. Evidently, there was a stripper there. Okay, and funny enough, I'm working at the gym. I'm talking to this trainer. He's telling me about arm wrestling, a Hungarian guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'll show you this and that," and I'm like. And I'm like, I seen the pictures of the stripper before. So we're like, almost. I'm like, God damn, this guy's strong. I can't move him. I can't even move the guy. And ends up being the guy who's the trainer at the gym I used to work at. He was the stripper at my wife's party.
That's right? Funny, man.
And my grandma was giving him money. My grandma's now 100. She's now 101. She's now 101.
No kidding. God bless.
But that was funny. So yeah, he got me into it. He started, training me, took me to the practices, and I've been doing it ever since.
How many competitions have you done?
probably 10. I won the New Jersey State Championship a few years ago.
All right.
Super heavyweight, left-handed. But if you want to injure your shoulders, definitely start arm wrestling.
I'm good. My shoulders are shot already.
Great sport to injure your shoulders.
I don't need any. But it's good business for orthopedic surgeons, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Especially since most of us probably don't have insurance.
Exactly. So let's go back to boxing if we could for a minute. After Spence and Pac, what do we have coming up after that? I'm not even sure.
We have a few coming up. They're not talking about. Who knows? We have
Triple G is going to fight. I don't think there's
who's
much.
He fighting?
I don't know. I don't think there's much interest in that.
You got coming up.
Lomachenko, I think.
Just fought.
I know, but I'm sure he'll get something popping quick.
I'll tell you who you got to watch for. You have to watch for Joe Joyce, a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Joe Joyce, a heavyweight.
He's Australian or New Zealander or something.
Yeah. And
I think.
And I was training in England 2 years ago for the competition with the guys, and Daniel Dubois was out there, who's a very hot prospect, like the next Anthony Joshua in England. And I mean, he dismantled Dubois. I watched the fight, and so Joe Joyce is definitely somebody to watch for. You got Connor Ben coming up. He's going to be breaking into the States pretty soon.
Is that Nigel Ben's son?
Yeah, that's Nigel Ben's son, and he's really good. He'll be breaking the States after this next fight. He'll start fighting like one of these guys, Errol Spence or Porter, and we'll see how good he is. He's very good. We got Rigondeaux coming up. Fighting somebody.
Oh yeah, Rigondeaux. I met him when Yuri had a fight down in Miami it's probably 4 years already. And Yuri was fighting Lara, so the Cuban community was there. And I'm a small guy, and he standing next to me, he looked like he was 8 years old. He is really tiny, really tiny, but incredibly talented fighter.
And you got the Teofimo fight got postponed, and he's fighting that kid from Australia who says he's direct descendant of Marcus Aurelius or something like that.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw those friends. And you got the Spence. Oh no, I thought that was sooner. Yeah, Spence Pacquiao. I thought that was a little sooner. The 21st of August. And then I like this one. De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Christ, I don't know. I wouldn't take that fight if I was.
No. I think Oscar's.
Does he know Belfort can box pretty damn good?
Box, and then he can bring other elements to the game.
Oh.
So Joe Joyce.
Yeah.
So my buddy Brian Minto, I think, pretty sure they fought down. So in Australia, they had like a heavyweight tournament.
I vaguely remember hearing about it.
Yeah, it was like 5 round. I think they were 5-round fights or something. It was like an odd number. Yeah, and they had a good fight. They had a good fight.
Yeah, well, he had some good wins. I mean, he has some good wins. I'm looking at his box shirt right now, and I've seen him fight. He can fight. Like his third fight. I mean, he's never fought anybody with a losing record in his life. Which a lot of guys, even the good ones, do coming up. I mean, he fought 12-3, 4-1, 9-1, 22-4, 30-13, 26-3. Then he fought Joe Hanks 23-2. Bermain Stavern, who was champ at the time. He
fought for the title.
He knocked him out. He knocked him out in his ninth fight. Ninth fight. Then he fought Alexander Ustinov, who was a beast. He beat him, TKO'd him. He was 34-3. Brian Jennings from Philly, who's a beast. He beat him by decision. Tough guy to knock out. Very tough guy. And then
I'm wrong. Brian actually fought Joseph Parker.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But Parker is a technician. Parker's a very good technician.
Good fighter.
Very strong technician. I mean, this kid, Jesus, he's like Joe Joyce. He was a silver medalist in the Olympics, I remember. Right.
And
he's 6'6". I mean,
all the heavyweights now are 6'4" plus, right? I mean, 6'4", 6'5".
He's not getting a lot of promotion, but I mean, he might be the second best heavyweight out there right now.
Right.
To be honest, second or third. With Joshua Fury, maybe him. He should be fighting. He should be fighting somebody like Ruiz or Wilder next. He's fighting Carlos Takam, who's a good gatekeeper, but I think he's the gatekeeper point.
So what's going on, Wilder? I mean, stop with the excuses already. You lost. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
And look, I know Mark Breland not real well, but I know him casually. how do you blame
How
Breland?
can you say that? How can you say that?
Yeah.
You had guys in the audience like the Charlo brothers yelling at them to stop the fight. Dude, these people were your friends and they're sitting front row and they're fighters. They're yelling to stop the fight. They said it themselves.
Yeah.
They don't care if they get mad at him. I mean, you were getting brutalized.
Right.
And his gloves were loaded, right? Because after the referees inspected the gloves, watched him put it on, then they took them off. They forged a signature and they put him back on.
The most ridiculous thing ever. I mean, that's even
what Fury should do. What Fury should do is wear Wilder's last costume to the ring.
Yeah.
When he said it was too heavy, he should wear that.
Too heavy for him. Yeah.
That's what he should do.
And do a cartwheel as you go in.
But he did it right last time. I'm telling you. I mean, I was calling it, and then when he came in on the chariot, the guy's almost like, "That's how you gotta be. Relax. Not working a muscle." You know what I'm saying?
Remember when Floyd came in to fight Arturo Gatti down in Atlantic City?
Yeah.
He had the gladiator outfit on. They had him up in the air.
Of course. I remember that fight.
But Wilder, I don't know. Maybe and you know, you look at his look, he's got ferocious, devastating, pulverizing power.
Agreed. But where? In one hand.
Right hand.
It's not a left hook, it's a right hand.
Right.
So he's got one punch, he's got one right hand. He's not the most devastating heavyweight puncher of all time because there's devastating heavyweight puncher, you gotta have both hands, you gotta have multiple punches. Yeah. So who is? I don't know. I mean, Lennox Lewis, I mean, he can knock you out with one punch with any hand, and I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying like there's other guys out there. Tyson can knock you out with a left hook, a straight right, an uppercut. You know, like this guy can knock you out with a right hand. It is pulverizing. It's the hardest hitting right hand in heavyweight history. Yeah, but that's it.
Yeah. So if you can figure that how to, you know,
and he's very athletic. He's extremely athletic, and he's got a crazy right hand. He doesn't.
He came in late to the game too.
Very. He's accomplished a lot for his.
You got to give him an enormous amount of credit.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, come on, got a bronze medal in the Olympics after I think they said a year of fighting.
I think he had like 10 amateur fights, maybe.
Out of control.
No. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Did you do any of the Olympic qualifying?
Just national, just
nationals
and stuff like that. And I was going to do it as I got out, and it was wrestling for like a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, God damn, I can't do this. I'll be living on the street. I can't do this.
Yeah.
So I just said, fuck it. I actually went to the boxing gym for fun, and then I was like, just snapped back into it. And I was like, damn, I want to go to the Golden Gloves. I started training seriously. I was able to still work and make money. And that was that.
And I've talked to a few fighters and writers about this. What do you think the biggest difference was between amateur fighting and professional fighting?
Well, obviously the point system is very different. Like when you get knocked, let's say you get knocked down in the amateurs, it's considered a point. It's not considered like a punch.
They've actually changed that.
Oh, have they? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy now. Like you could win around 10-7 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish.
I don't know why they don't just keep it the same as a pro. So it's
exactly. So it's an easier transition, but
yeah, because in the amateurs, don't they use also computer technology to score punches or?
Yeah, I don't. And again, it depends where the fight is. I mean, Patterson, New Jersey, they're not going to be using computer technology.
Right. Yeah. But at the higher level, they'll use
higher levels. It might be. I don't know. It's a good question. And I only know this because
I like the pros. I like the pros because I like having the extra minute in a round.
Yeah.
I like having more rounds. To get comfortable. Kind of an amateur, it's kind of a hustle, like 4 2-minute rounds, 3 or 4 2-minute rounds, and you gotta move, not throw reckless, but you have to move. You have to.
You got to throw punches.
You have to hustle. It's not like you have time to figure it out or change your game plan too much. It's over before you know it.
Right. What was the key to your game? Strength, just tenacity.
I think my wrestling helped me out a lot. It did. My strength of being able to control the ring, control the person's body. I was also a southpaw, so it did throw people off, and people didn't like fighting me because of that. I think even as I stopped, my game was still developing, and I had because of extenuating circumstances, I did have to stop being competitive with it at a professional rank. Because if you're not going to be in the gym, 2 hours a day and running in the morning and, weight training 2-3 times a week, you can't do it. You shouldn't do it because it's not a game. It's serious.
You don't play boxing.
No, his life is on the
I
line.
don't play boxing.
So,
Yeah, I think I've noticed not everybody, John. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have some guys that really worked hard, but then some guys that just want to come in and do like some bag work, couple rounds, and go home. And maybe they're not. I don't know if they're doing a road work. We had a kid, I won't name the name, but extremely talented fighters of 122 pounder, 125 pounder out of New York. Really, really talented guy. And we went out to Pachanga out in San Diego. And the first 3 rounds, he was just boxing his kid's ears in. And then he ran out of gas. It was a 10-round fight. He lasted 10 rounds, but it was this close. He was from getting really clipped. You know what I'm saying? Like he was just getting out of the way because he couldn't even lift his arms at the end of the fight. And like all that showed to me was he wasn't doing anything.
That's it. Road work. I mean, road work is so important. As long as you know what you're doing in the ring, you have to do your road work. What's his name? Just losing train of thought. Vince Lombardi.
So I worked.
Vince Lombardi, right? What was this saying? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. How many times do you see that in boxing? Where the guy who's not as talented win the fight because
I know from my other end of the world, like as a strength coach, the first thing to go when you fatigue is your technique, first thing. And my other realm, like with skating, you could see a guy's stride break down when they get tired, and that's why we're really conscious of how much ice time they have before we change them up. But Tommy Brooks, Tommy, right?
I know Tommy.
I was very fortunate to work with Tommy for a couple.
He was my trainer on the Contender.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, Tommy's a great guy. I love Tommy.
I will say, Tommy's the best corner man in the business.
Yeah, I was fortunate to work with Tommy because at the time he was training Sean George. You must know Sean, right?
I remember Sean, 175.
Yeah, and so we were all working together. I was doing the strength and conditioning for Sean, and we had a really nice group of guys. We had Raymond Biggs, who was another great fighter out of Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy. But anyhow, with Tommy, and he said you should never lose a fight because you weren't in shape ever. Because you guys, when you get in the ring, you're all good fighters. You're professionals. Now it comes down to, did you prepare for the fight?
Right, being accountable. You're training.
Yeah, I mean, talent can take you so far, but then after a while, it's the part that no one sees. All that work you're doing when you're getting up at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, get your road work in.
You have to do it.
I think the funniest story now, Lou, I did a camp in the Poconos with Al Mitchell, who was the Olympic coach, and Sean George, and I think Tommy too. I'm trying to remember. I think Tommy was there. But anyhow, China sent their Olympic. They sent over like a half a dozen or so of their best guys. We did a camp up in the Poconos, and so it's a 2-hour ride out there with Lou Duva, once or twice a week. And he starts telling the story of John the Beast Mugabe. I don't know if you remember John.
Yeah, of course.
He's a middleweight world. Yeah. And they're down in Virginia Beach, and they're at a training camp there. And he tells Mugabe, listen, I'm not getting up in the morning, so here's what I want you to do. Get up at 6 and run to the third stoplight, turn around and come back, and that should be enough. Gets up in the morning. Where's this kid, right? Get a call from the Virginia Police Department, Virginia Beach Police saying, hey, got a guy here who says he's your fighter. Yeah, that's him. Well, he ended up in Virginia Beach running. Well, this is like 6 a.m. and it doesn't look good, right? And the kid comes back. He says, Lou Duva says to him, John, I said, run to the third stoplight and turn around and come back. He said, but they were all green. So he just kept going.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
He didn't keep going in the 10th round when he fought Hagler.
Many people didn't.
Yeah, many people didn't make it that far.
To make it 10 rounds to Hagler.
That was my favorite. Right, my favorite fighter of all time, always.
Yeah, and he didn't seem to get the notoriety. I mean, for boxing people, we all know
he didn't get
it.
No, he didn't get it. He
didn't get it. And you got to kind of wonder why. I think I know why, but I think it is what it is. But that was such a packed field. You had, Hagler, we said before, Hearns, Pepino Cuevas, you had
Duran
and Sugar Ray. And those were, I was in Gleason's one day when I was training Yuri, and Don Saxby. I don't know. Do you know Don?
I don't remember.
He's a trainer. He said, "Hey, Mark, can you do me a favor? Because He said, can you move around with this guy, older guy? I said, yeah. So I put my gloves on. I didn't put any headgear on or anything. Guy's really green. So we're just playing around. And I said to him, it was an Asian guy. So I said, so what do you do? He says, I'm a director. And I'm thinking like director in a bank. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, hey man, Mark, shook hands. He goes, Ang Lee, right? So now I'm sitting on a train going back to Jersey. I'm thinking, why does that name Ang Lee sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
So I get home and I said to Beth, now she works for A&E Network, so she kind of know. I said, hey Beth, why does this name sound familiar, Ang Lee? She goes, what are you, an idiot? I said, well, yeah, you know that already. So why are you asking? She said, that's the director who did Life of Pi, and he's like won 3 Academy Awards.
Good thing you hit him too hard.
Yeah. So the next time I saw him, I said, so what's going on? You doing this just to stay in shape? Or he said, no, I'm doing a film. I'm getting all the old film from Ali and that what I like to call the golden era. We were just, Hearns and all those guys.
Yeah.
They're going to redigitize it and make it 3D. And he was going to do a documentary on it. I don't know whatever happened to the project, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. I moved in the Contender, actually. I don't know what the video was. I have to find it. They put Tony Danza in the ring with me to spar. And, so I was moving around with Tony. That was probably his first time in the ring since, like, 1970s. But,
well, Tony, so one of my best friends, and the reason I really got super deep into boxing was Scott Frank. And Scott and I grew up in the same town, and he's a year younger than me. And we could talk about Scott for hours. He's a pretty interesting guy. But he was in the same camp as Tony Danza. And it was Lou Duva. It was Duva. And Duva told him, he said, you know what, stick to acting. Stick to acting. But did all right. Did all right. So what's on the docket now, John? What do you got going? What are you doing with yourself these days? And I know you said you sell memorabilia.
Yeah, I sell memorabilia. I have a consignment shop, so I sell memorabilia, a lot of sports cards, and vintage toys and things like that.
You have a website that we can go to?
No, I don't have a website. Just people can contact me through Facebook or that's fine like that. But I have tons of stuff, and always if anybody's into sports cards or memorabilia, sports, Hollywood, political, anything you could think of, I have it.
We were just talking before we got on. I see you got your '86 Mets jersey on. I'm a big Mets fan, and not too many people will admit that, but I will. I'm a huge Mets fan, and like I told you before, my son Sean's a Yankees fan, so we're always throwing that Subway Series. We got either some money or push-ups on the line on who's going to win, kind of thing. Yeah. So we'll be back on again, John. I want to talk more boxing, and then we get a finalized plans for our veterans boxing event. We really want to talk about that to everybody, so we get people to come by and support our veteran community.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. I appreciate you having me on.
No, I appreciate you taking the time to do it. I know you're busy, and we'll do it again real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Mark. Pleasure.
All right, brother. Thanks,
Take
John.
care.